Okay, now see here, as far as the design of three-phase induction motor is concerned, we have to focus on the point that is nothing but the how to calculate the main dimensions, which is related to the what three-phase induction motor. Now see, yesterday we have studied. We have derived the equation which is related to the what output equation of the three-phase induction motor, which is given by Q is equal to C0 d square L ns, where Q is nothing but the output of that induction motor in kVA. Okay, you can you can fit it into in your mind that whatever this Q is there, or many of the time they are using yes also. Okay, so what is that? Q is nothing but the output which is in kVA. Now this is one of the formula that we are having the reference with us, that is nothing but the C0 d square L ns. Now from by using this formula we have to find out the value of the D and L. Now see how to find out this value, that we are going to see in the calculation of the main dimensions. Okay, now see, first of all, C0 d square L ns, where C0 is nothing but the what output coefficient whose value is given by C. I have given there at the bottom. So how to find out the value of C0? C0 is equal to 1.11 pi square BAV kW into 10 raised to minus 3. I have written kW at purposefully at the last. Okay. Now what happened whenever you are going to solve the example, at that time the value of output coefficient is directly given to you. Okay, the output coefficient value is directly given to you, or they have given the average value of flux density, then they will give AC, that is nothing but the how many ampere conductors that we are going to use into that particular slots, and they will also give the value of kW, that is nothing but the winding factor. Okay, so these are the value which is given to you, and you have to find out the value of C0 from this equation. Okay, now see, whenever we are going to solve the example, that time they are also give they will give you the value of this Q also. Okay, now generally what we have told, or generally what I told you, that what is the value of that Q is in kVA. Okay, but as you know that when we are seeing the induction motor, that time we never seen the, what can I say, ratings of the induction motor in kVA. Either it is in HP or either it is in somewhat kilowatt. Okay, so there is a what I can say, the output of that motor is either given in kilowatt or in HP. Okay, now so what to do, how to convert that output which is given output to the kVA. Okay, म्हणजे पहिल्यांदा काय होणार आहे, तुम्हाला एक्झाम्पल मध्ये C0 ची व्हॅल्यू फाइंड आउट करावी लागणार आहे. ती तुम्हाला डिरेक्टली गिवन असणार आहे, किंवा तुम्हाला ज्या गिवन क्वांटिटी दिलेल्या आहेत त्याच्यावरनं C0 ची व्हॅल्यू फाइंड आउट करावी लागणार आहे. देन Q ची व्हॅल्यू तुम्हाला एक्झाम्पल मध्ये गिवन असणार आहे. ओके, बट इट इज गिवन इन HP or kilowatt. But as far as the output equation of three-phase induction motor is concerned, we want that value in kVA. So what we have to do, we have to convert that HP value into what I can say kVA, or kilowatt value into kVA, and ns is nothing but the, what I can say, synchronous speed in revolutions per second, not in revolutions per minute. So how to convert, see here in next slide. Now see, whenever the kVA rating is given to you, how to convert that kVA into, or sorry, whenever the ratings or output of that motor is given in HP, horsepower, how to convert it into the kVA? See, there is a formula that HP into 0.746 divided by N into cos phi. Okay, where that HP is nothing but the what? The given rating or the given output rating of that motor. Then 0.746 is the constant. N is nothing but the efficiency of that particular motor. Okay, now whenever we are going to solve the example from here onwards, they are going to specify the efficiency of that particular motor. Okay, design a motor so that it will achieve the 85% efficiency. And what is that cos phi? Cos phi is nothing but the power factor. Okay, you can remind this for MCQ as well, because in the MCQ they will given what I can say power in HP, horsepower, and they will ask you that what will be its analogous power, or what will be its analogous rating in kVA. That time what you have to do, you have to use this formula, HP into 0.746 divided by N into cos pi, where HP is nothing but the given rating or output in horsepower, and 0.746 is the constant divided by efficiency into the power factor, okay, which is nothing but the cos pi. But if the rating is mentioned into the kilowatt, so how to do? Simple formula, kilowatt divided by efficiency into power factor, okay. When it is mentioned in HP, how to find out? HP into 0.746 divided by efficiency into power factor, that is nothing but the cos pi. But if rating of that machine is given into the kilowatt, then what you have to do, you have to convert it, or its analogous kVA you can find out by kilowatt, whatever the kilowatt given to you, divided by efficiency into cos phi. See, many of these time students are doing mistake in this particular formula only. This is the very important and the foremost important formula that we need to keep in your mind. Why? Because the rating of the whatever the output formula related to the induction motor is there, that is in kVA, okay, and rating it is always specified in HP or kilowatt. So what students are doing, whatever that rating they have specified, they can directly take it as the kVA and they are going to solve the example. They will also get the value of D and L at that time, and they are assuming that my example is correct, okay. And that same value is also mentioned into that MCQ. म्हणजे त्यांनी काय करते, दिलेली HP ची as it is HP power they can take while solving the example, then they will find out the value of D and L. That value is also mentioned in MCQ. म्हणजे चुकलेली तुमची व्हॅल्यू पण MCQ मध्ये असणार आहे आणि बरोबर आलेली पण व्हॅल्यू असणार आहे, आणि तो ते आन्सर बघून आपल्याला काय वाटणार आहे, येस इट इज करेक्ट, मी सोडवलेलं करेक्ट आहे. बट हीच मिस्टेक होती. पहिली स्टेप आपली काय, जर तुम्हाला HP मध्ये दिलं असेल त्याला KVA मध्ये कन्वर्ट करून घ्या. If it is given in kilowatt, convert it into the kVA. That is your first step whenever you are going to solve the example. Obviously you have to find out the value of C0 also, but very important is nothing but the, whenever it is given in HP you have to convert it into the kVA, or whenever it is given into the kilowatt, then you have to convert it into the kVA. This is the first step to find out the main dimension. Now after that what we have to do now, what we will get, first up here we will get the value of C0, then we will get the value of Q from the given equation, then NS is given to U. Now what happen, we will get one equation which is given the value of D square L is equal to some constant. कसे येणार आहे, कारण Q ची व्हॅल्यू आपण काढणार आहे, त्याच्यानंतर C0 ची व्हॅल्यू आपण फॉर्म्युलावरनं काढणार आहे, NS ची व्हॅल्यू आपल्याला एक्झाम्पल मध्ये गिव्हन असणार आहे, RPM मध्ये दिलेले असणार आहे, त्याला आपल्याला RPS मध्ये कन्वर्ट करायला लागणार आहे. Then what we will get one equation which will gives us the value that D square L is equal to some constant. Okay, आपल्याला काय मिळणार आहे, D square L is equal to constant. But next what is given to us, which is the very important, that into the examination they have mentioned the ratio, or into the exam they will mention that the ratio of L by tau, okay, where this symbol that is nothing but the tau, where tau is nothing but the what, pole pitch of that particular motor. Okay, you have studied the pole pitch into the, what I can say, second year electrical machine second induction motor. Okay, so into the particular example they will, आता आपल्याला पहिल्यांदा इक्वेशन काय मिळालेलं आहे, डी स्क्वेअर एल इज इक्वल टू सम कॉन्स्टंट, पण त्याच्यावरून आपल्याला डी आणि एल ची व्हॅल्यू मिळणार आहे का, नाही. मग आपल्याला दुसरं त्यांनी इक्वेशन एक्झाम्पल मध्ये काय दिलेलं असणार आहे, एल बाय टाऊ. ओके, दी रेशिओ ऑफ एल बाय टाऊ. बट हाऊ टू फाइंड आउट दी व्हॅल्यू ऑफ पोल पिच, जर त्यांनी दिलेला नसेल, ओके, जर त्यांनी तुम्हाला ह्याच्यामध्ये रेशो दिलेला नसेल, किंवा रेशो दिलेला असेल, सपोज तुम्हाला रेशो दिलेला असेल एल बाय टाऊ इज इक्वल टू 4, ओके, आपल्याला टाऊची व्हॅल्यू पण फाइंड आउट करते. हाऊ टू फाइंड आउट द व्हॅल्यू ऑफ टाऊ, विच इज इक्वल टू पाय डी डिवायडेड बाय पी. ओके, विच इज इक्वल टू पाय डी डिवायडेड बाय पी. याच्यावरून तुम्हाला काय मिळणार आहे, याच्यावरून तुम्हाला एक डी चं काहीतरी इक्वेशन मिळेल. ते ती मिळालेली डी ची व्हॅल्यू तुम्ही कशात पुट करणार आहे, पहिल्या इक्वेशन मध्ये पुट करणार आहे आणि तुम्हाला कशाची व्हॅल्यू मिळेल, एल ची व्हॅल्यू मिळेल. आणि ज्यावेळेस एल ची व्हॅल्यू मिळणार आहे तर त्यावेळेस तुम्हाला डी स्क्वेअर एल इज इक्वल टू समथिंग इक्वेशन मिळणार आहे. ती एल ची व्हॅल्यू त्यात तुम्हाला पुट केल्यावर यू विल गेट द व्हॅल्यू ऑफ. एव्हरीबडी गॉट इट. पहिल्यांदा तुमच्याकडे इक्वेशन असणार आहे डी स्क्वेअर एल इज इक्वल टू सम कॉन्स्टंट. इफ द रेशो इज गिवन टू यू एल बाय टाऊ, then use that ratio. Okay, but how to find the value of tau? Tau value we are going to find out using pi d divided by p, where d is nothing but the what I can say, stator bore diameter or armature diameter. And what is that p? P is nothing but the number of poles. Obviously whenever we are going to see any design of that particular electrical machine in related to the induction motor, that time the number of poles is given to you. Okay, 4 pole induction motor, like that I am saying, it is not like that 4 pole, but just I am giving the example. Okay, आणि एल बाय टाऊ ची व्हॅल्यू व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट आहे प्रत्येक एक्झाम्पल मध्ये. ओके, इफ एल बाय टाऊ value is not given into the examination, that time what we have to do. Okay, see, if L by tau value is not given into the example, then what you have to do, for good design the ratio of L by tau is 1. You have to assume it there, you have to specify it there, and you have to do the calculation. जर त्यांनी व्हॅल्यू दिलेली नसेल तर, जर त्यांनी व्हॅल्यू दिलेली असेल की एल बाय टाऊ ची व्हॅल्यू ही यूज करा, तर तुम्हाला काय करायची, ती व्हॅल्यू यूज करायची आहे. ओके, बट if it is not mentioned, then for good design the value of L by tau is assumed as a 1. गुड डिझाईन साठी तुम्हाला एल बाय टाऊ ची व्हॅल्यू काय असणार आहे, 1. आणि मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम दिस एमसीक्यू इज गोइंग टू बी आस्क्ड इन टू द एक्झामिनेशन, दॅट the ratio of core length to the pole pitch for a good design of induction motor is, what is the its answer, is nothing but the 1. Okay, now see here I have given a table also here. What that table is mentioned here, in the left hand side they have mentioned different design features of the induction motor, and in the right hand side column they have given the range for the ratio of L by tau. Now here this point is very important as far as the MCQ is concerned. Why? Because 4 MCQs are to be possible by using this point. Okay, first column, what they are saying, whenever we are going to go for the overall good design, that time the ratio of L by tau is assumed as the 1. Okay, if we want the good power factor, that time the ratio of L by tau is ranges from 1 to 1.25. ओके, इफ वी वॉन्ट दी गुड एफिशियन्सी, हे पण एमसीक्यू बऱ्याचशा वेळा विचारलं जाते. इफ वी वॉन्ट दी गुड एफिशियन्सी फॉर दॅट इंडक्शन मोटर, then the range of L by tau, that is nothing but the core length to the pole pitch, is of what, 1.5. And if we have to design the induction motor within a minimum cost, then its range is from 1.5 to 2. Okay, but whenever we are going to solve the general example, at that time whenever we are going to consider overall good design, that time what we are going to do, whenever we are going to consider overall good design, where we are using the value which is nothing but the 1. Okay, ज्यावेळेस ओव्हरऑल गुड डिझाईन असेल त्यावेळेस मी कुठली व्हॅल्यू यूज करणार आहे, दॅट इज नथिंग बट दी 1. आणि जनरली एक्झाम्पल मध्ये पण देताना ओव्हरऑल गुड डिझाईनच दिलेलं असतं, दुसरं आपण यूज करायचं नाही. जर त्यांनी स्पेसिफाय केलेला असेल तर तो रेशो मेन्शन करायचा, अदरवाइज वी हॅव टू यूज दी डिफरंट रेशो. Everybody got it? This is the very important, because whenever you will understand how to find out the main dimensions, that time you need to consider there. When they will specify how to find out the main dimensions, you have to specify there. Okay, see, this is the why this procedure is very important? Because whenever we are going to concern or whenever you are going to solve the problems related to the design, that time you should know from which point I have to start and which point I have to end. म्हणजे कुठल्या पॉइंट पासून मला डिझाईन करायला स्टार्ट करायचं आणि कुठं संपवायचं आणि कुठली व्हॅल्यू मला कशी मिळणार आहे, हे जर तुम्हाला कळलं, देन यू विल गेट दी व्हॅल्यू व्हेरी इझिली. ओके, नाउ सी हिअर. Next, into the example, they will mention the another important point, or many of the time whenever we are going to solve the example related to that, they are going to mention this point, which is nothing but the peripheral speed. Okay, many of the time MCQ are going to be also asked based on this point, that they will give us the speed of that particular motor in RPS, then they will give us the stator bore diameter, and they will ask us that find out the peripheral speed for the induction motor. Okay, now what is the formula for finding out the peripheral speed for the induction motor? Is that v is v this v notation is used for finding out the peripheral speed of the induction motor. Okay, what is that peripheral speed? V is equal to pi d n, where d is nothing but the diameter of that particular stator bore, and n is nothing but the speed in RPS. लक्षात घ्या, आतापर्यंत आपण जे काही डिझाईन बघितलंय, म्हणजे कालपासून आणि आजपर्यंत कुठंही स्पीड हा RPM मध्ये त्यांनी दिलेला नाही. ज्यावेळेस आपण डिझाईन करतोय त्यावेळेस स्पीड आपल्याला कशात घ्यायचा आहे, दॅट वी हॅव टू कन्सिडर इट इन टू दी RPS, रिव्हॉल्युशन्स पर सेकंड. Okay, we have to consider that speed in the revolutions per second. त्यांनी खालचा whatever the two sentences they have mentioned, that is very very important as far as the MCQ point of view. What is that particular sentence? Generally, the standard construction of induction motor can be used for the peripheral speed of to the 60 meter per second. Okay, जो standard peripheral speed आहे construction साठी overall, तो किती आहे, which is nothing but the 60 meter per second. Okay, standard construction speed for the good design of the induction motor, which is mentioned in the meter per second, which is of what, 60. But they have given that for normal design, the diameter should be chosen such that peripheral speed should not be exceeds the 30 meter per second. Okay, आता ज्यावेळेस whenever we are going to solve the example which is related to the what I can say induction motor, that time they will they will say us that find out the value of diameter, then find out the value of length, and suggest us that whether this design is affordable or not, or whether this design is good or not. Okay, now what we have to do, we have to find out the value of d from the what I can say given data, and then what we have to do, we have to find the value of peripheral speed, which is nothing but the v is equal to pi d n. d ची तर व्हॅल्यू आपल्याला मिळालेली आहे, त्याच्यावरून आपण जर स्पीड काढला आणि तो 30 मीटर पर सेकंडच्या बिलो आला. ओके, व्हॉट दे हॅव सेड, फॉर नॉर्मल डिझाईन डायमीटर आपल्याला असा चूज करायचा आहे की इट्स पेरिफेरल स्पीड शुड नॉट बी एक्सिड्स दी 30 मीटर पर सेकंड. जर तो 30 मीटर पर सेकंड पेक्षा कमी आला, ओके, 30 मीटर पर सेकंड पेक्षा कमी आला, तर मी काय म्हणणार आहे, द डिझाईन इज अफोर्डेबल ऑर गुड. पण तो जर स्पीड 30 मीटर सेकंड पेक्षा जास्त आला, तर आपण काय म्हणू शकतो, व्हॉट एव्हर दी डायमीटर दॅट वी हॅव गॉट, what I can say, whenever we are going to design the induction motor is not suited for the design of that particular induction motor. जर विचारलं तरच सांगायचं आहे. If they will not ask, then don't tell that what we have to do and what we not we have to do. Okay, जर त्यांनी विचारलं तरच आपल्याला सांगायचं आहे, त्याच्यानंतर आपल्याला सांगायचं नाही. ओके, कारण हा पॉइंट तुम्हाला MCQ ला विचारणार आहेत का, तुम्हाला एखादं डी ची व्हॅल्यू देतील आणि त्याच्यावरनं काय विचारतील, स्पीड देतील RPM मध्ये, आणि विचारतील हे whatever the value we have taken, whether it is affordable or whether it is suited for good design. मग हे तुम्ही कशावरून ठरवणार? मग तुम्ही v चा फॉर्म्युला यूज करणार, पेरिफेरल स्पीड पाय डी एन. तो जर 30 मीटर सेकंद पेक्षा कमी आला तर तुम्ही काय करणार आहे, यू आर गोइंग टू say that this is for a good design. If it is exceeds the 30 meter per second, then it is not suited for the good design. Everybody got it? So this is the very very important points that we need to consider whenever we are going to calculate the main dimensions which is related to the, what I can say, induction motor. Just I will revise it once again within a 10 minutes. What is that? First of all, into the what I can say, into the example they are going to mention, or they will give, we know the formula which is related to the output equation for that induction motor, which is nothing but the q is equal to c0 d square l ns. Okay, now that time what you have to do, we have to find out the value of c0 from the formula. If it is given, then it is okay. If it is not given, we have to find out the value of c0 from the equation, that is nothing but the 1.11 pi square bav ac kw into 10 raised to minus 3. Then we have to find out the value of output. It is in kVA, but many of the time the ratings of that motor is specified in the HP or kilowatt. So how to convert it into the kVA? When it is mentioned in the HP, then what you have to do, you have to convert it into the kVA, that is nothing but the HP into 0.746 divided by n into cos phi. Okay, where this HP is nothing but the motor rating, 0.746 is the constant, n is nothing but the efficiency, and cos phi is nothing but the power factor. Okay, and if it is mentioned in kilowatt, then what we have to do, kilowatt divided by efficiency into cos phi. ओके, लक्षात घ्या, इथं अजून एक चूक व्हायचे चान्सेस आहे. काय, किलो चुकून तुम्हाला रेटिंग किलोवॅट मध्ये दिली असेल आणि तुम्ही जर फॉर्म्युला एचपी चा वापरला तरी तुमचं एक्झाम्पल चुकणार आहे. यू विल गेट रॉंग आन्सर. त्यामुळं फॉर्म्युला तुम्हाला स्पेसिफिक माहित पाहिजे, हाऊ टू कन्वर्ट इट इंटू दी केव्हीए. एचपी दिला असेल तर कसं करायचं आणि किलोवॅट दिला असेल तर कसं करायचं. जर किलोवॅट मध्ये दिलं चुकून तिथं किलोवॅट इंटू 0.746 करून तुम्ही जर कॅल्क्युलेशन केलं, देन यू विल गेट दी रॉंग आन्सर. ओके, दॅट यू नीड टू कीप इन युअर माइंड. याच्यावरून आपल्या व्हॅल्यू काढल्या, मग आपण काय करणार आहे, वी विल गेट दी व्हॅल्यू ऑफ क्यू, we are having the value of c0, we are having the value of ns, which is already given into the examination, which is nothing but the speed. Okay, so how to find out the next that, मग आपल्याला काय मिळणार आहे, we will get the value of d square L is equal to some constant, but into the example there is another ratio is given into the example, which is nothing but the L by tau. That ratio is nothing but the what, it is the ratio of core length to that pole pitch, which is nothing but the tau. But how, if it is given then it is okay, if it is not given then we have to find the value of tau, which is finding by the equation pi d divided by p. So from this equation you will get one equation for the d or L, you can put that value into d square L, you will get the particular that value from d and L, and then you can find out the next value. Okay, L by tau चा रेशो किती पाहिजे, this is the one standard, what I can say, design procedure, or this is the one of the standard table whenever we are going to consider, what I can say, design which is related to the core length and pole pitch. Okay, if it is overall good design, then its ratio is 1. If we have to design for the good power factor, its ratio will rise from 1 to 1.25. And if we are going to design for good efficiency, it is of what, 1.5. And if we are going to design it for minimum cost, it will be from what, 1.5 to 2.0. Okay, so हा टेबल सुद्धा तुम्हाला काय म्हणतो लक्षात ठेवणं गरजेचं आहे, because they will ask the MCQ based on this table. And another last point, that is nothing but the, if they will give us that, if they have given the diameter and speed and they will mention find out the peripheral speed, so how to find out, v is equal to pi d n, where this v is nothing but the peripheral speed of that motor, d is nothing but the diameter of that stator bore, and n is nothing but the speed in rps. Okay, now see, Generally the standard construction, for that standard construction, which are that speed that we are going to consider standard, that is nothing but the 60 meter per second. But if a normal design is concerned which is related to the diameter of that particular motor, that time what we have to do, that time what we have to do, it should not be exceeds the 30 meter per second. ओके, म्हणजे तो किती एक्सीड नाही व्हायला पाहिजे, 30 मीटर पर सेकंड. जर तुम्हाला एखादा डायमीटर दिला आणि सांगितलं वेदर इट इज गुड फॉर डिझाईन ऑर नॉट, that time what you need to consider, you have to design which is related to the up to the 30 meter per second. Okay,